your support, your encouragement, and most of all, your love are equally important to them as it is their commitment to each other today, not only now, but in the years and days to come. Who gives this woman's hand in marriage?
We do.
There is no greater responsibility, I believe, in this world than that of being a parent. It is their love, it is their guidance through life's lessons that have been a source of inspiration to Nick and Rachel. As proof of that inspiration, I would now like to read to you some closing thoughts from Rachel's parents on this day. Nick and Rachel, with happiness we share in this ceremony of commitment. Rachel and Nick both possess loving, relaxed, and fun temperaments combined with good common sense. Over the past several years, we have watched them become each other's trusted best friend. And we believe this love and trust is the foundation for a solid and loving marriage. Rachel and Nick, as you embark on this adventure of a lifetime, remember to work through life's challenges. And don't be fooled, there will be challenges. But work through them with trust, respect, and compromise. As I move forward now, I am compelled to ask, what is the definition of marriage? You may be seated, by the way. You guys were going to stand there forever, weren't you? Good crowd, good crowd.
Front row of the right side, there's chairs open.
What is the definition of marriage? Do we really know what it is? Is it not something that is individual to each and every one of us? It is said that oftentimes when people come to a wedding ceremony that it causes them to stop and reflect on their relationships, on their marriage, and what that meaning of marriage really means to them. Now, obviously, there are some universal truths about marriage, about being married, about the word marriage that comes to us, some buzzwords, if you will, such as love and devotion and commitment that we have all come to understand. And yet, is it not the true definition of marriage contained in this personal reflection of a defining moment in which you realize that it is the next step, that you are all consumed by the thought that you cannot move forward without that life's partner. Your brain cannot think another thought. You cannot draw another breath. Your heart will not beat another beat. And in short, your life will not move forward. For Nick and Rachel, the definition of marriage lies in their hearts. It is not something that is merely prescripted by a courthouse, something that they find in a book. In Nick's case, not something that he Googled. It is the realization that that emotional and physical void cannot be filled without each other. And so with that said, let me take a minute to express what I believe has drawn Nick and Rachel together today. Let's take my son. My son thinks and acts in terms of being an engineer. He likes to take things apart and put them back together again. He likes to see how things work. So in other words, he likes to connect the dots. For Nick, marriage was a matter of carefully analyzing each dot, each step of the equation. And those dots for him were represented by Rachel's strengths, her self-confidence, her willingness to share and forgive. A lot of forgive. She is oftentimes content with the present. But make no mistake, Rachel has high hopes for the future, with high expectations. I remember, as though it happened yesterday, Nick coming over to my wife and I's house. We were working in the backyard on a project, and it didn't take long before he began to go through this analyzation process about the next step with Rachel. And you could see that he was connecting the dots. You could see that 1 + 1 + 1 was equaling 3, that A plus B plus C was equaling D. And he kept going on and kept going on, and finally he stopped. And you could see that the realization was on his face. For he came to us and then calmly announced to us, Dad, Mom, Rachel, I can't imagine my life without her. I cannot find any reason not to move forward and ask her to marry me. Because you see, for Nick, marriage equaled a greater sum than just two people in love. To Nick, Rachel is that final dot. She is the unalterable answer to his heart's equation. Rachel. What else could it be but a recipe? And first, with any good recipe, you have to start with the right ingredients. And those ingredients just happen to be contained in a giant mixing bowl named Nick. And yet, what are those ingredients? Well, certainly you have to start for Rachel with a barrel of laughter every day, followed by several spoonfuls of friendship and understanding. But yet, for Rachel, the main ingredients are several cups of love, a measure of warmth, forgiveness as needed, with spoonfuls of hope and tenderness. As you can see, both Nick and Rachel are both very process-minded. They start out with the end in mind. And yet, over and above the definitions that we have so routinely accepted, such as love and devotion and commitment, Nick and Rachel believe that marriage is the closest kind of friendship and a commitment to life. And because Nick and Rachel, in the end, it really doesn't matter how many breaths you take as a married couple, but how many moments together take your breath away. Would you please now join hands? Nick, please declare your love, devotion, and commitment to Rachel.